Welcome to the second video in my A Software Engineer and the Family Court playlist. I will be blunt and immediate with my point. Was I discriminated against in family court? Absolutely. Did it feel like an agenda-driven feminist revenge? For sure. Did my now fully alienated, fatherless feeling 4 children suffer because of it? Sadly, yes. But here's the twist. By definition, feminism must somehow involve women. The famous manifesto rightfully asserts that women face unequal treatment and society must establish equality of the sexes. Consequently, is this video somehow an attack on women, our dear mothers and daughters? The direct answer is a clear and categorical no. This video has nothing to do with sexism, revenge, hatred, or misogyny. If this doesn't surprise you and you have experienced Marxism on your skin, then the revelations in this video may not be new to you. Please leave a comment below with your own experiences. We would love to know about them. Otherwise, welcome again to my YouTube channel. I created this channel to document and share my perhaps extreme experiences as a dedicated father exposed to extensive litigation in our irresponsibly subsidized and subsequently federally reimbursed family courts. This video is about the beginnings of my story and about how to protect yourself from the deeply child-predatory feminism specifically invented by elite men. Yes, the greedy men who profit from destroying other men's sons and daughters on purpose, while pretending to protect the victimized women for an extorted fee. Adding to the first 2 hooks in my previous My Sanctuary City Life in a tent video, I will provide you with 2 more head scratchers or key takeaways to keep in mind. To reiterate from that first video, see the convenient link posted above. The intensity of my emotions, feelings of despair, and utter personal loss initially shocked me when I was dragged back into family court more than 13 years ago in May of 2011. At the time, I had been caring for my twins as their biological father and physical custodian for the previous 4 years. Family court had awarded me custody of the dear children because their non-biological mother suddenly became more interested in her own liberty and riches in Hawaii. She had also unconditionally trusted me with the then still 3.5-year-old toddlers. Our divorce, finalized in 2008 with a required 1 motion and 1 appearance in family court, was entirely amicable. It also formed my underlying beliefs and understanding of how my co-parenting relationship with the subsequently returned from Hawaii ex-wife. Therefore, I was surprised by the rapid and sudden changes and the deliberate and scarily effective rewriting of history in family court in 2011. While I'm curious and driven to learn and understand how complex systems work, my lack of exposure to the combative realities in family court quickly turned my initial shock into a layman's overwhelming fear and feelings of utter helplessness. The desperation and loss, specifically the missing daily love and connection with my dear little children, effectively paralyzed me. As a legal immigrant who arrived in the US in 1986, I certainly had baggage from a fundamentally different life. I didn't just spend my first 24 years in a communist tyranny, where women and men are always treated equally as mere workers, but I was also a hated minority national there. The taste of that ingrained for life previous fear and utter helplessness immediately engulfed all my senses after the first few family court hearings in 2011. In fact, I still remember that voice in my head, literally screaming at me, but that's not what happened, after listening to the opposing attorneys' wild fabrications allowed and even encouraged in family court. In the initiating ex parte hearing, the activist feminist attorneys baselessly and maliciously speculated in family court. He has his passport, Your Honor. And I think if he thought that he was going to be in serious trouble for child abuse, he might consider it. That is, fleeing the country. Despite the police and the Department of Children and Families promptly rejecting the blatantly false child abuse claims and the premeditated and fraudulently staged overall coup, the family court still forcefully and immediately took my dear children only because I was an always legal immigrant with a valid US passport. Let me pause for a second to ask you to please hit the like and subscribe buttons now so you don't miss the still to be unpacked financial motives. My forcefully concealed stories, twists and turns in the literal millions of dollars for the overall and behind the scenes racketeering enterprise by the state itself. However, despite the overwhelming urge to scream, I instinctively stayed quiet in family court. The important lesson one learns when growing up as a deeply hated minority national is never to react to or respond to or specifically to resist a perceived trigger or a merely entrapping provocation. Moreover, I have been a vigilant observer of Marxism, practiced in its most raw and ruthless forms. For example, a friend and classmate of mine in elementary school back in Eastern Europe lost his dad overnight because he whistled the always catchy opening sound bites of the strictly banned Radio Free Europe in our Soviet bloc satellite state. Therefore, I already knew that the primary target of the weaponized psychology inherent in all Marxist-inspired utopias, or more precisely dystopias, is one's reality. As a software startup founder and later successful entrepreneur in the US, I was also lucky to have met Attorney Inker, the self-proclaimed father of Massachusetts divorce law. The Harvard Law School alumni charged his exorbitant legal fees for shamelessly fabricating the always desired and astronomically profitable high-conflict cases in family court. During our vivid conversation about communism and Marxism, Attorney Inker told me about his visit to Vietnam and that not all was bad over there. I then learned about Attorney Inker's win-win divorce strategy and inferred that the lawyerly goal of his strategy had been to turn divorces into obscene and deeply child-predatory feminist profiteering exercises by greedy men with manifested sociopathic tendencies. Harvard Attorney Inker's Marxist-inspired progressive recipe for legal success was quite simple. It went like this: provoke the projected to be evil fathers to resist any inherently child predatory or obviously child abusive treatment in family court, and the blatantly reinterpreted male attacks on the always protected female victim mothers become justified causes for swift punishment against the now evidently toxic masculine fathers in the hence colluding and also profiteering family court. Once again, as all Marxist utopias collapse when the proverbial money runs out, I diligently followed the money for years in my layman's struggles in family court. I promise to reveal my findings in this YouTube playlist, including the specifically manifested and concisely proven judicial mechanisms. So please stay tuned to find out how the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court's simple rules are deliberately subverted by family court, only to conceal the Marxist-based, obscenely profiteering activism. As a forcibly brainwashed communist child, I grew up with the mandatory thinking pattern and ready-made justification for swift punishments called dialectical materialism, a core principle of Marxism. The coercive thinking pattern prescribes that the most effective solution to problems caused by contradiction is to address the contradiction and then rearrange the systems of social organization that are the root of the problem. Now, anyone with any creative energy and a somewhat critical mind would instantly realize that Marxism was invented by and for lazy thinkers, i.e., the basic workflow of dialectical materialism can be trivially reverse engineered. For example, an enterprising politician can start with an inexistent but desired root problem, followed by the manufacturing of a carefully matching and merely projected contradiction, and then reaching his ultimate objective, rearrange the social organization. And voila, the politician attracts unparalleled public attention. Attorney Inker's evil political genius was exactly that. He exercised and then applied this Marxist-based thinking pattern to family court. Specifically, Attorney Inker, the father of modern divorce law, expanded and thoroughly exploited the inherent confusion of the she said, he said cases, or as formally defined, the situation of two people involved in an event providing conflicting accounts and leaving no other witnesses to corroborate either version. By enhancing the inherently sex-based contradictions between mothers and fathers, obviously under the dominion of combatant feminism, and then fabricating high conflicts by provoking fathers with visibly abusing their children, Attorney Inker also provided the state a golden opportunity and a needed clear ideology to rearrange the systems of social organization to a vastly more profitable, even federally reimbursable in the tens of millions of dollars incarnation. In summary, inspired by the Marxist utopias, Attorney Inker rewrote the Massachusetts divorce law in the image of the Gulag Archipelago by the Soviet dissident Alexander Solzhenitsyn. In his Nobel Prize-winning book, Solzhenitsyn specifically observed that ideology is what gives evil-doing its long-sought justification and gives the evildoer the necessary steadfastness and determination. That is, the social theory that helps to make his acts seem good instead of bad in his own and others' eyes. And family court and the state eagerly adopted Attorney Inker's now federal money-producing ideological feminism, the deeply child-predatory and forced fatherlessness creating activist innovations. Unsurprisingly, the key elements of this scheme are the prevalent and superficial Marxist-based ambiguities and inconsistencies. Pulitzer Prize-winning historian Anne Applebaum condensed this concisely in her The Gulag, What We Know Now and Why It Matters YouTube video. See the link posted below. She observed and concluded, "It's on purpose. The laws are unclear for a reason, because everybody is a criminal, so anybody can be arrested at any moment. They have always violated something because the laws are badly written, and they seem to be written that way on purpose." And that is exactly my forcefully concealed story, based on baseless and malicious, mere stereotypical projections. I was handcuffed, arrested, and even ordered to jail by family court in direct violation of my statutory and also deliberately forced intractable indigency. Without going into more detail in this video, I concluded in my petitions to the highest courts See the link to my soon-to-be updated website below. That family court has subverted the innocent until proven guilty core principle of our American rule of law. I also diligently documented to our Supreme Courts that our core judicial principle was secretly replaced with the profiteering agenda driven for untraceable federal reimbursements in the tens of millions of dollars dystopian mutation. Specifically, this mutation was inspired by the Stalinist guilty until proven innocent, but with all proofs purposefully discarded and evidence outright erased, ruthlessly retaliating principle of discrimination. Closing this second video, here are my promised 2 takeaways. Number 1, family courts are the activist and profiteering incarnations of the Stalinist guilty until proven innocent judicial principles against toxic masculine fathers, and all your opposing and resisting actions will be endlessly recast as stereotypical male attacks against the always to be protected female victim, mere projections, until you give up and admit a merely custom fabricated just for you original sin. Number 2, should you choose to resist your otherwise unavoidable reprogramming into forever being labeled with that original sin, while your dear children are visibly tortured into forced fatherlessness, you must meticulously keep a record of everything with exhausting and redundant detail until the money runs out. Specifically, you can't rely on court dockets. They are blatantly falsified. On your mailed filings, they are discarded per secret gatekeeper orders. On appealing anything, your notice of appeals are ignored. On presenting your facts, they are explicitly erased, etc. In other words, if you think that due process and equal protection of the law, constitutional rights would ultimately apply to you in family court, think again. Or even better, follow my story so you don't have to repeat my mistakes. I cannot possibly know what will happen, but please stay tuned. My next video, titled Maximized Federal Reimbursements for Forced Fatherlessness, will keep rewarding you with 2 more hooks focused on the financial motives behind my forcefully concealed story. Spending just a few minutes of your time and following my story unfold could help make the deeply child-predatory feminism by greedy and ruthless men overturned and outlawed as a merely Marxist-inspired, weaponized psychology from within. As always, thank you for your time. Please check out my quick status updates, my upcoming YouTube shorts. Bye.